Hey Saji, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We're doing great. I am Nancy, and this is Clark, and you'll
Hi.
see Sue is on.
Hello.
Um,
Mhm,
and some days we have a lot more people, some days we don't. So, but we just do it no matter what.
mhm,
And this is a very important part of the program because if you don't change how you think,
mhm.
you'll always struggle. It's just the way it is. So that's what we move closer to do, right? So.
Okay.
So tonight, okay, so I'm Nancy. This is Clark. I lost 45 pounds, kept it off for 5 years now.
Mhm.
It's a miracle for a yo-yo dieter, just so you know. And go ahead and tell your story.
I lost 70 pounds and in 5 months, and I've kept it off for 5 years, and uh, and I'm a happy guy. So
So,
Rightfully so.
yeah,
right, exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
So tonight, what we're going to be talking about, it's element 12 out of the Habits of Health. It's the life book. So there were 26 elements that Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson wrote. And what these, um, I guess we call them elements, right? What these elements are about changing your habits, changing your mindsets. You learn a lot about just yourself, which actually helps you in your health journey. So, for example, one of the things that I learned, one of the big things is I don't like confrontation. That's not a big thing for me. I just don't like it. So when I got into a situation where I felt like I needed to confront someone, I wouldn't. Instead, I would have a half gallon of ice cream. It didn't help the situation. Did not help it.
didn't solve it.
Did not solve it. And I'm really pleased to tell you that Dr. Anderson actually teaches on that too. So you'll be hearing bits and pieces about that. So, so that's super important. Anyway, tonight we're going to be talking about optimizing. Now, everybody wants this. Optimizing your success in reaching a healthy weight. So how do you optimize your success? And we're going to just talk real quickly. If this isn't in the element, this first little part, but when Clark and I were talking about it earlier, we felt like it was just more food for thought for you, something just to be thinking about. And that is, everybody needs some kind of accountability. So we call it dieting in the dark, where you don't tell anyone, right? You just try to white knuckle it and do it on your own. And then maybe you get a little discouraged or you just couldn't resist those donuts or whatever it was. You fall off, and then all of a sudden you're off for a month and you've already gained back everything you lost, right? This is what happens. That's when you try to do it on your own. Okay. So accountability by being in a group, and nobody is the food police. We all have, we all struggle, it's not like just because you've kept your weight off for 5 years, you don't at times,
Have ice cream,
right? But
just not a gallon.
right. So usually what happens is if you do kind of go off the rails a little bit, it's not for as long and you're able to catch yourself and get back on. So by doing that and practicing that and it becomes shorter and shorter, what happens is it doesn't become a big deal. Maybe you put on a pound or two, which is not a big deal, right? But as soon as you start practicing your habits again, you're back to just where you want to be. So that's the whole thing about habits, right? You want to create those habits. So this is something though we wanted you to think about. Accountability. And we talk about accountability in a group. We talk about accountability with your coach, but really the first point of accountability that you want to be thinking about is with yourself. And why we want to bring that to your attention is when you make a promise to yourself, and we're so quick to break promises to ourselves, but not to our friend or our family member or whoever, right? If my kids said to me, would you do me a favor? Can you promise me you'll do this? You better bet I'll do that. But how quick for ourselves that we say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm promising myself I'm going to do this. And then 3 days later, we're like, oh, well, it's okay. Right? No. So that is a habit. And we've gotten into that habit of letting ourselves off the hook, haven't we? But what's so bad about that is not even the fact that you went and maybe you derailed and ate whatever. The bad thing about that is you have created a habit, and what it does is every time you break a promise to yourself, it affects your mindset, which then affects your action, right? So what happens is you break the promise to yourself, you basically let yourself down, right? And then your mindset is like, oh, I'm a failure, I can't do this, I get whatever. What's wrong with me? Everything, and then you start the whole cycle over. So the reason we bring this up is not to make you feel bad, because we all are working on being better at that. The reason we bring it up is to make you aware that when that starts to happen, you need to be able to say, wait a minute, I made a promise to myself. I'm going to do this. And I can remember when I was losing my weight, initially, what came up for me, this is what really powered me. I got mad. I said, I'm going to do it. And I got really feisty about it. And I did that on purpose, because if I just relaxed into what I was doing and started giving myself all this grace, I knew it would be no different than any other time. I had to change. So what helped me to start creating those better habits was, and I'm not saying you need to do this, I'm just saying this worked for me. I just got really feisty. And if you know me, I'm not that way. I'm really pretty even. Oh, yes. What do you mean? Yes, I am. I'm pretty even tempered. And so for me to be like, I'm going to do it, that just helped me. So whatever it is for you, all I want to say is be aware that if you made a promise, if you said to yourself, this is the time I'm doing it, remember, create a habit of keeping promises to yourself. What it will do is it's going to give you more self-confidence, and it will bring success. And that's what you want. You want the success. So that was a little bonus that has nothing to do with the chapter, but we're going to talk about the chapter now. So, all right. So what Dr. Anderson writes about is so interesting. Every time we study one of these, we come away going, it's pretty interesting what he writes. Anyway, he talks about how there's 3 phases of the program. I don't know if you know this. There's phase 1, which is the weight loss phase. Okay, that's where what we're doing is we're creating new habits and new mindsets and basically by doing that, you're going to lose your weight. You're going to get to a healthy weight, all right, by making those changes. Phase 2 is where you start to transition. You stop using the fuelings, which is what you use in phase 1 to help lose the weight, right? And what you're doing is transitioning over to whole foods, okay? But there's a phase 3, and it is not called maintenance. They never use the word maintenance, all right? I know a lot of programs do. We want you to maintain your weight. What Optavia wants you to continue your health journey to ultra health, to the very best, which that creates longevity. That creates the most healthy body that you can have to live your life with, okay? To be in your best shape. And so that might mean stepping up your exercise, but by then you're at a healthy weight and you're wanting to do that. You may be building more muscle strength, right? It's even working still on mindset. So that's phase 3, okay? But right now, most of you are in phase 1. And that's what we're going to talk about, okay? Phase 1 is the weight loss phase, okay? Where we're just trying to get you to a place where your body's at a healthy weight, okay? And you're thinking differently and you've got the new habits, right? So what we learn in phase 1 can sound really counterintuitive to what you probably already know about good health, right? So before Optavia, okay, before Optavia, people might have said to you, if you want to get to a healthy weight, you just eat a lot of vegetables and fruits, right? They might have said that to you. I don't know. Or you might have thought it just from information or past diets or whatever, right? So it's kind of counter to what we're telling you in phase 1, right? We're telling you no fruit in phase 1. And so you may say, is this healthy? You know, what has Dr. Anderson lost his mind? Why would he tell us no fruit? So here's the thing. Fruit is absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, a very important food for you for long-term health and actually for maintaining a healthy weight. It is. Okay. So we don't want to, we're not saying fruit's bad. Okay. We're just saying in phase 1, you don't want to put fruit in. Okay. The great thing about fruit is it's got terrific vitamins in it. It's got great fiber. And overall, it's a healthy thing. Now, of course, you want to talk about the glycemic index of what you're eating of fruit. But in phase 1, we're telling you no fruit. So why would Dr. Anderson do that? Why would he do that? This is why. Phase 1, what we're trying to accomplish, and your coach may not have told you this, but in phase 1, when you're in weight loss, we are trying to shut down your insulin pump in your system. We want it not to be that way, okay? The reason for that is we want your body to burn fat. If you're adding in, like fruit has, extra carbs, which is the sugars in fruit, right? There's a lot of sugar in fruit. It's good sugar, okay, guys? I'm not telling you it's bad sugar. I'm just saying if you're trying to lose weight, that is not going to help you, okay? If you're maintaining your weight, it will be fine. You could have it, okay? So in phase 1, we're shutting down the insulin pump. We're going to turn your body into a fat-burning machine. We want your body to go for any unhealthy fat you have to fuel it for energy. Does that make sense? Can you see how it doesn't sound right to say no fruit, but yet it doesn't help you if you're really trying to lose the weight? I can remember years ago being on Weight Watchers. I mean, this was a long time ago. And at that time, it was free fruit, whatever fruit you wanted to eat. I did terrible on Weight Watchers. I would sit down at night and eat 3 oranges. Can you imagine my blood sugar level? 3. I would not even eat just one. I'd be like, these are free and they taste good. So I'd eat my 3 oranges and then I'd get on the scale at the meeting and they'd be like, well, what's wrong? I said, well, I was good. I ate what you told me to. So, so anyway, just to kind of give you, the idea in your head, and I want you to picture it. So what we're doing is we're creating a balance in your body of the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbs. You are getting carbs, by the way, even though you're not eating fruit. You're getting carbs. You need that for brain function, right? You're getting 24 vitamins and minerals from the fuelings because what we're doing is we're creating the perfect storm. We're creating the perfect environment where what will happen is your body will say, hey, Marie, we need energy to get through the day. And based on what you're feeding us, we are going to burn any extra fat you have on your body. And Marie says, great. Do it. Right?
You can have all the fat you want.
Yes, you can eat all the fat, burn all the fat you want, guys. Burn all the fat you want. All right. So here's the good news. You get back the fruit. Fruit comes back. But what you're going to learn when you get fruit back in phase 2 is you're going to have a whole new picture of what kinds of fruits will benefit you better than others. That doesn't mean you can't have your oranges, but you probably won't be eating oranges every single day. They're very high in sugar. Okay, same with bananas, really high in sugar. But that apple, those berries, you're going to be like, hey, those are my new favorites, and it's going to support what you're doing. So the great thing about Optavia, I think, is it's not only that you get to a healthy weight, you can maintain the healthy weight, but it's a whole education in itself of how to eat. I mean, these are things that the information out there is all very confusing. This makes all the sense, right? And it works. It's worked for over 3 million people. So it works. All right. So that's fruit. So here is, let's see. Okay. So here's something I want to ask you about. So, we talk about fat burning, right? And sometimes you'll talk to a client and they'll say, gosh, I only lost, around this week and I followed it to the T and what's going on. And as a coach, we are like Jessica Fletcher in Murder, She Wrote. So we've got to figure out what's going on. So you're going to notice as coach, we'll ask a lot of questions, and we're not doing it because we're really, nosy, but we are trying to detect exactly what's going on because this is what we know. The way the program's put together, it's done by science, and every single person can succeed and achieve their goal on this program. Everybody can. So if somebody is struggling, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt, we need to figure out what's going on. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Now, and you give me some answers. Okay. 1, what do you put in your coffee in the morning?
I don't drink coffee.
Who said that?
So
Oh, Sue, that's great. You don't have to
Okay.
worry about this.
no.
I drink it black.
Oh, good girl. Good girl.
I don't
Raji?
drink coffee too. I don't drink
Oh,
coffee.
you guys are so good.
I don't drink coffee.
And he doesn't drink it either. Okay. All right. Well, here's the thing. A lot of people, they have a love affair with their coffee creamer,
Oh.
and they don't even count it. They, in fact, probably they like a little coffee in their creamer. So you find out, honestly, I had one client 3 weeks into the program and she was losing just little bit every week. I'm like, doesn't make sense. And finally she said, well, I just couldn't give up my creamer. And she'd have, 3 cups in the morning. And so I'm sure she was adding so much carbs into her system. It's no wonder. So anyway, she finally did give it up. But so that's something. Also, any other sweeteners that you do use, you'll notice that we always count those. So you're there, it's counted as a condiment. So you cannot drink like diet soda all day long. You've really got to switch to the water. I mean, I went off soda a long time ago, but well, when I went on the program. But some people, that's kind of their coffee. They drink Diet Cokes and all that. So anyway, you have to remember that that's considered a condiment and you're only allowed 3 condiments a day. Now, I'm not a big advocate. You got to track everything, but those are important things to pay attention to, right? Because you can see why it affects your results. You don't want that. Someone's having a bar right
Right.
now.
I'm not sorry.
But he's not sorry. He's eating his bar. Okay, other things are breath mints. People don't think about that. And snacks, any kind of snacks. So the whole point is when you're doing the 5-in-1 and you're in phase 1, anything you add in extra, you just have to be conscious of what you're doing. Okay? Just be conscious of that. And if you're not sure if you can or can't, or what it's going to do, or maybe it is no problem, whatever it is, you need to talk to your coach about that. Okay, so that's fruit. Well, here's one. Now, this may sound really counterintuitive. We don't want you to exercise. How many times, maybe it's just me, but many times I started a program and this is what I said. I'm going to walk 5 miles a day. I'm going to cut out all my sugar. I think I'm only going to eat 1 meal a day. I'm going, and I lasted about 48 hours. I mean, but there's more reasons than just that for him to say, don't exercise in the beginning. Now, he does say in the beginning, okay?
3 weeks. Yeah.
Can anybody guess why he would say that?
Maybe just to focus on the weight loss portion first.
That's one thing. Yeah, it's to keep it simple, right? You want to create new habits. So 80% of your weight issues is affected by what you eat. Only 20% is affected by your exercise. So
You
if you
can't
really
outrun
want,
your fork.
you can't outrun your fork. Exactly. So, and here's the other part of it is a lot of people think if they exercise, they're burning fat. Your nutrition is what the way this program is set up,
Yeah.
the way you eat is what burns your fat. Okay. Also, you're changing your caloric intake substantially when you go from the way you did eat to the 5-in-1. Okay, you're getting all the nutrition you need, but you're taking in a lot less calories. All right, so that's a really important thing to be thinking about. Okay, how about this? The first week you're on program, your coach should say to you, hey, you might go through like a detox. Your body's kind of getting used to this. So another reason Dr. Anderson says no exercise the first couple of weeks is your body is getting used to a whole new way of eating. It's already going through a big adjustment period, right? So we don't want to add in the exercise. And how about this? if for every pound extra pound you carry, and I carry 45 extra pounds on my body. That's like a first grader or maybe a second grader that I carried around with me.
I carried a fifth grader.
He carried a fifth grader with him. Anyway, when you carry that, for every extra pound you're carrying, it's 4 pounds extra on your joints. So instead of just an extra 45 pounds you're carrying, your joints are screaming when you're out there running or whatever you're doing, walking fast, went by over 100 extra pound of pressure on those joints. I mean, that alone, I mean, orthopedics is big in this area. I can see why. People are having joint replacements all the time. You're carrying extra weight, it's affecting your joints. Okay. So we don't want to do that. Here's another thing it does, and this was something new that I had not realized. When you go to exercise in the I'd say first 3 to 4 weeks of the program, and you start to really push yourself, you're exercising, what your body does is it starts to produce cortisol and actually some hormones that can affect you from losing as well. So if you're going to all the trouble of changing your eating habits, changing your mindset, it's wise to listen to what Dr. Anderson says and don't do any major exercise while your body's adjusting. Okay. So it's
The other thing, and maybe that Nancy mentioned this at the beginning, is I've had clients talk about how before they started Optavia, they were spending 1 to 2 hours of exercise a day trying to lose weight. That's a lot of time. That's just a lot of time, and it's not taking them anywhere. It's not getting them to where they need to be or want to be. And so, by doing that, you streamline the action your body needs in order to lose the weight. So I just wanted to mention that.
yeah. And it was interesting in the life book. If you have the life book, I recommend you read the chapter. But Dr. Anderson talks about how he went into a gym and spoke to some ladies that had been working out there for a couple years. And he basically asked them, so tell me, from the time you started working out to now, how much weight have you lost? And the most they said was a couple of pounds. And some of them said, well, I've actually gained weight, which could happen because of muscle too, right? But if they went in there to trim down, that didn't happen. Now, just like fruit, exercise is very good for you. Okay, so I want you to hear that. Exercise is what you're going to be doing a little later in phase 1, and then you're going to ramp it up in phase 2. And when you're feeling like Wonder Woman in phase 3, you may decide you're running that marathon. I don't know.
I probably won't feel like
He probably won't,
Yeah.
but I probably won't.
maybe Thor.
Maybe 4. So the whole thing is that we're on this journey. Okay, so we're not saying, hey, once you reach phase 3, you're done, guys. Yeah, you're not having fuelings, you're not in weight loss, but you're always looking at ways to just be healthier, right? Just how to be healthier. So does that make sense about exercise? Okay, here's the thing you need to know about phase 1. He only says that for like the first 3 to 4 weeks of the program. Okay. Now, if you have a lot to lose, I mean, I've had clients that have way over 100 pounds to lose. And, maybe you want to even wait longer because I just worry about joints. But that doesn't mean you can't incorporate motion. And it can be gentle motion. It can be just, hey, I went to the doctor's office. They were on the 2nd floor. I decided instead of taking the elevator, I would just walk up the stairs. Or you could break the habit like I had to of driving around and around and around because I had to get a parking space by the door of the store, just in case it rained, you know, or whatever. So instead, now I try to park a little farther away and walk. So there's lots of things you can do, but I'm just saying the first 3 to 4 weeks of the program do exactly what he said. And then I wouldn't even start to do until you get closer to your goal weight. I wouldn't even start to do really serious exercise until you really feel like you're ready for that. Okay? So keep the faith, your exercise will come back. So, all right, here's the next thing. You're going to love this one. This is one a lot of people struggle with, and I did in the beginning too, just so you know. So people say, or the program says, we want you to eat 5 fuelings a day. And now you know why. The reason we say that is because that is going to put you in a fat burning state, and it's going to give you the right nutrition, because we not only want you to lose weight, but we want you to be healthy. Okay, that's the point of the program. We're not into you got to look like Miss America. We want you to actually be the healthiest you can be. Okay, so you do that, plus you do 1 lean and green meal a day. So you may say to yourself, well, what about whole foods? What if I eat just whole foods all the time? Right? I mean, that's something. And I even thought to myself, well, you know, it's healthy to eat whole foods, right? Well, just like exercise, just like fruit, which is whole food, it is good for you. But it will be harder to actually get the right proportions and get what you need in order to accomplish to get phase 1 done. Okay? This is just the beauty of the program. It just is easier. Okay? So, this is what I know. There are lots and lots of people that eat only whole foods. Okay? They don't eat like processed foods, and they are obese.
Recently I reached out to actually he reached out to me, and I was explaining the program to him, and goes, well, see, there's where I'm having a trouble, Clark. I'm just, spending the money on food. I have an organic farm. I grow all my own food. I have um, I have uh, cows that are grass-fed beef. I have whatever. Everything's organic. Everything's great. No pesticides. But he's 320 pounds. And I said, that's great that you're eating all that. However, there's some other things that we need to talk about. So he was eating really great food, but it wasn't getting him to his goal. Yeah.
So Dr. Anderson is a huge advocate of whole food. Okay, that's where you guys are going with this, right? Here's the piece that was missing. If people are struggling, they're eating whole foods and they're still not at a healthy weight, they, one, are eating the wrong proportions of it, right? And 2, they don't, just like me and my oranges, they don't have the information, or are not at least aware of the information that whole foods are good. However, not all of them are created equal. So just because nuts are good for you, if you eat 3 cups of nuts, I promise you won't lose weight. I promise you will struggle. So the
Well,
great
big
thing
old
about
baked potato with a pound of butter on it is whole food.
that's all whole foods. Amen.
Yeah,
But see, that's the whole thing. It's like what they do is they
exactly.
group whole foods, like Weight Watchers used to tell us to group fruits and vegetables. Eat as much
Yeah.
as you want because they're whole foods, and they're good for you. Now they are good for you, but eating as much as you want is not good for you, right? So the
Yeah.
great thing that I've learned and Clark learned through this program is the education of the glycemic index of foods and portion control, and realizing if we eat 6 small meals a day, like you're doing with the 5 and 1, we can maintain a healthy weight.
So there's a switch from feeding my body to fueling my body. And I was used to feeding my body and my emotions and my stress and my boredom. And I'm learning continually to fuel my body. So that's the difference.
So I might have popped your bubble on the Whole Foods, but but that is the reality of
We'll
it.
get
And
there.
yeah,
We'll
so
get there. And we're practicing on the lean and green.
exactly. So the whole thing with lean and green, they could have. In fact, I don't know if Medifast did that or not, but the whole thing with the lean and green meal. So you're only doing one lean and green meal a day, right? That lean and green meal, it's not just that, oh, that's part of the program. The importance of that lean and green meal is your body is going to get the right nutrition because you've learned that that's the size piece of meat should be. That's what your vegetables should look like. This would be a normal meal. Because I don't know about you, but my normal meals did not usually look like that. They usually looked like this. And being the one that cleaned up in the kitchen, I'm pretty positive I ate a whole nother meal while I was cleaning up in the kitchen. Right? Isn't it so easy?
Or while you're cooking it.
Or while you're cooking it. No, I waited till it was cleanup and then, you know. So, and now I just I don't even think about getting a second portion, that's huge for me because I always got seconds. No. So, so it is a whole education, and the way you learn it is you're in community like this, so you're hearing, right? This is what you're learning in your mind. It's changing how you're thinking about things, and you're actually practicing it by eating 6 times a day, by eating the smaller amounts, by learning what a lean and green is, right? So this is how it becomes your new normal. This is how I know we would never go back. It's not like it was years ago when you would do a diet, lose your weight, go back to the way you used to eat, and all of a sudden you're looking for another new diet. And you're like, what is wrong with me? This is a pain in the neck, right? So it doesn't have to be that way. I want you to know that it doesn't have to be that way. Every person that does Optavia, and some do and some don't. So I'm not saying every person that signs up succeeds, because you have to decide, I want to change and not deal with this anymore. You have to get a little sassy like I did. No, I'm not going back there. I'm gonna do it this time. And you never have to worry about that again. So, yeah. So did any light bulbs come on?
It was a little adjustment. I've been trying to really concentrate on the portion control, and it was a little adjustment realizing that a portion of lettuce was just 2 or 3 leaves of lettuce. Because I used to do twice as much more of lettuce, but what really was really difficult, and I almost cried on this, was when I had only a third of an avocado on my salad. And
Oh.
I'm like, You know, that's so little. I'm so used to having a whole, and they're little avocados. Why can't we have a whole avocado?
Yeah, and you think, hey, it's good for me, and right? Yep, yep. Anyone else?
light போடுடா.
All right, there we go.
Okay. Well, I hope you got something out of it. The whole thing is this mindset change, right? Of realizing, oh, I didn't realize that. Now, if I do that, it will make a difference. So that's good. Did you have anything to tie it up?
I don't think so.
Nope, you're
Nope.
good to go.
I'm good to go.
Good. Well, well, go ahead, Marie.
Oh, I thought Suzanne was gonna say something, but
Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Am I on mute or unmute? I can't
You're
tell.
good
at
No,
this
we
now.
can
point.
hear
Okay,
you.
I was, okay, good, thank you. I was just saying, I can resonate with everything that you said between, you know, multiple portions and but somebody said to me a long time ago, don't make that like you can make a decision, it's between you or the garbage pail. So don't make yourself the garbage pail. So, but I could definitely resonate with that because yeah, you're putting stuff away and you're, oh, why throw it out? It's here. You're like, you know, you just don't want to throw out food, but you're not the garbage pail, so don't do that.
And especially if it tastes good.
Mhm,
Right? Yeah.
And I just wanted
Yeah.
to say about
I know.
the insulin pump. I thought I caught that where it's so like I didn't catch that before. It's turning it. I mean, I've heard that turning it off, but just getting you in that fat burn is turning that off totally. So that's awesome.
Right. Your body is actually using a different pathway of burning. So it takes a little bit.
Yeah.
But
That's
you know
good,
what,
Lori.
Nancy, when you were
Mhm.
talking about taking seconds,
But
can you hear me?
Yeah, about what? Say
Yeah.
it one more time.
I have about taking seconds,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, at the table. I completely changed the way that I cook and serve meals, especially for just, you know, my son and I. I don't put the whole bowl of whatever on the table. I make us plates. And then everything else, I mean, there's usually no leftovers because I make enough for 2 meals and then that's it. And there are no leftovers, you know?
Yeah, and I think
So that's different than we used to.
I think before we started eating 6 times a day, and we were only eating sometimes twice a day, right? You would either skip breakfast and have lunch and dinner, or maybe have a late breakfast and dinner. Okay. What happened to us? Our blood sugar levels would drop. By the time we got to dinner, a plate this big looked good. We were hungry. And it was almost like you would eat that and you couldn't even satisfy because your body had experienced that hunger that you wanted to have seconds or finish up what's in the kitchen, right? This is what happened. What I've noticed since we eat differently now is I never have that huge craving. There's never, I mean, I might get a little hungry before a fueling or before a meal, but I never get so overly hungry that I feel like I have to have this giant portion. So, so again, the whole habit of eating small amounts all day, you can see how beneficial that is. It really does. We studied that in another chapter, that it actually keeps you from eating too much by eating all the time. Because your body doesn't get into that almost starvation mode, right? So, all right. I don't want to cut anyone off, but it's been great, guys. Hope you pick something up, and next week we'll hear some more amazing things from Dr. Anderson. It's really pretty cool. So we hope you have a great week. Don't forget to talk to your coaches. All
Thanks.
right.
Congratulations for showing up.
Yep, congratulations.